Well, at the end of a very difficult week, I thought the guys attacked the game in a fabulous fashion. We set up to be aggressive. It was the way the game unfolded. Unfortunately, on a couple of occasions, we were chasing the game rather than getting in front of it. But in terms of opportunities created, energy and endeavour at the end of a very tough week, and of course 3 goals, I think we can all be very proud of the way the guys have gone about their work. And we were beaten today by a side of immensely talented individuals that took advantage of their situations and moments when they came along.
We're going to open the floor for questions. We'll kick it off with Tim Sullivan on the Zoom.
Gary talked about this quite a bit lately, but it just seems like there's some sort of like snake-bitten characteristic of this team at home. Do you kind of sense a common thread with some of these results, and what do you guys need to do to turn it back around?
No, honestly, I know we've spoken about this before, Tim. We have a fabulous stadium. We have an immaculate surface for teams to come and play on. We have a wonderful audience and fan base that are making this place incredibly inviting for teams to come and play. And if you look around their group, there's a tremendous amount of experience. Some of those guys will have, lapped up the environment today and will have seen it as a wonderful stage to show their calibre and quality on. And I think that's part of the challenge that we have. We've also got to find a way, of course, to making this arena as difficult to play in as we did at Nissan. And it may take a little bit of time. It was always the hope that we could maintain that sort of form, but it's a very different dynamic we're dealing with. And of course, we're a very different team as well. We're no longer that unknown. We're a team that I think most look at and agree it's going to be a tough day. And now we're getting the best out of every group that comes to this wonderful stadium. And at the moment, we're falling the wrong side of it. But it certainly won't be through lack of trying, Tim, and it won't be through lack of endeavour and appreciation for what's going on around us.
Tim, if you have a follow-up, please go ahead.
Oh, I would love to. Thank you, Christina. Gary, just the second time in club history you guys have given up 4 goals. Is a similar kind of question. Is there a common thread other than, Toronto's players are really good? And then going back to, I guess, the beginning of July, I want to say, you guys were rotating keepers a little bit. Have you seen anything out of Joe's play that makes you say, okay, maybe time for Elliott to get another chance, or is it not Joe?
No, I don't think we can lay the blame at Joe's feet. Some wonderful finishes. There's plenty that can be done in front of him. I would say that, I think we all agree we've seen some very nice quality out of Elliott, and for sure he will get his opportunity again. And part of my job, of course, is to try and make sure that he continues to develop. But we've been in, a fairly decent run of form, some quality performances, not quite the results maybe we've deserved. But all in all, I think we've really tried to make today's game, as I said from the outset, a positive one. I wanted the attitude and the application of the group to be, in some ways, inspired, if at all possible. We played, for the first time, an out-and-out front pairing with Hanny supporting that group. So I think everyone could see that we really wanted to try and squeeze everything we could out of the group. Not easy, of course, when you've been cross-country and you get 2 days rest. So, as I said at the very start, I couldn't fault the guys and the way they went about their business. We conceded at inopportune times. I know all goals are inopportune, but the one just after the break was obviously a very disappointing moment. And I think when the guys look back on it, they're going to see that there were certainly times that we may have just given a better account of ourselves in that final third. By my reckoning, their execution was at a very, very high level, given the amount of times they hit the target. Maybe to be expected out of that group. But I certainly feel as though we're better value than we saw today with the 4 goals.
Speaking of not their goals, but your goals, they came from, 3 guys who, for different reasons, Hani obviously has been doing it for a long time for you guys. Teal, 4th goal in 4 games, and then Walker, 1st goal since I think the first couple weeks of the season, even though he has been pretty prolific for you. What did you see out of those 3 guys, and then each of the 3 goals? Obviously, Hani's is not very good because it was.
Well, yeah. Look, lovely to see him get on the sheet again. Bright and as purposeful as ever. I think he's getting a lot of attention, as you would well imagine, given the standard that he's playing at and what he represents now, certainly in our team. We've been excellent from dead balls, attacking situations in the last 4 games, and we saw that again today. I think it was Dave Romney that got a wonderful touch on at the near post for Teal's goal, and Walker's goal was a trademark Walker goal, wasn't it? He's onto it, real power behind it, and would love to see more of it, of course. He's, again, in the penalty area, you can see the sort of attention he's getting. But I've got to say, the delivery throughout the game into the penalty area, for the most part, open player or otherwise, was very, very good. And with 2 centre forwards that we had on the field, that was obviously a bit of our game plan. Knowing that we were going to be a little bit more aggressive with the way we set up, it was always going to expose 1 or 2 areas. And as I've said, they took full advantage of that.
One final question, team, take us home.
Yeah, since the results have been maybe less than ideal the last 3 games, we haven't had a chance to ask you about Shaq, but what have you seen from him in his 3 performances so far, and what has he brought to your team that hopefully will, whether it's turning it around or kind of take you guys home towards the end of the regular season?
Well, I think when you see the sort of performance that you had from him today, and you've got to take into consideration that he had 1 week's training with us, having had, I think it was 5 or 6 weeks from his last game in the playoffs in Spain. He's kept himself in good shape, but on his own. So it's very, very different, of course, to being around any group and competing. He played an hour, literally a week ago. He played 70 minutes midweek. He's been on a plane for nigh on 9 hours. And he's played 75 minutes today at a fabulous level. Honestly, I had him down as possibly our man of the match. I thought he was absolutely terrific. Individually, his defending is very, very high calibre. Very high calibre. He's getting himself into the game more often. I think he's growing in confidence, and he's only going to get better as he feels sharper and more confident around the group. So I'm absolutely delighted in what he's offering the team and the dimension that he's brought to our group. I will just say this to a piece of your question there, or statement maybe. The results certainly haven't been what we would like here. We would love to see more wins. But we still have an awful lot of football to be played here, a lot of points to be played for. I've not seen the results today. But no doubt, when you lose, it always ends up being reasonably negative for you. But there's still a tremendous amount to play for. And I noticed only a couple of lines from 1 or 2 people in the week based on the comment that I've made about being above the line. And I'm not sure that I made it as clear as I should have done as to why I was so categoric about that. I think the people that must have been writing those articles either haven't played the game or are real, unappreciative of what the guys go through, having changed conferences and playing against a completely different group of teams and very talented ones, of course, both conferences are. But the travel that's necessary in that other conference, the 8 games away from home, we have no way of really trying to measure what that did in the early stages, although we came out of it in a good position. we have changed venues. We've spoken about that. It can take a bit of time to settle into that. And again, that's through, no fault of anyone's. This is a wonderful place to come and play, but you've got to try and find a groove and an understanding of the arena that we haven't quite got yet. But one thing is for sure, I don't think you'll ever see this group not giving absolutely every sinew in their body to try and get a result and to be in a positive position. So for those guys that wrote those articles, I hope I've been a little bit clearer on why I believe it will be such a terrific achievement. We still have a lot to play for, but it will be very, very challenging, no doubt. We have it in our grasp still, though.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, just a set piece there at the end. We work a lot in the training ground on timing and deliveries, and it's one of those plays where everything worked out. Timing was good, got a good read on the ball, and then was able to put it on target. So good goal, good header, but too little too late, and yeah, frustrating to lose points at home.
We'll open the floor for questions. Team, you ready?
Yep. Walker, I know at least 3 of the goals were kind of a weird nature. One long banger, and then some where some of you guys got wrong-footed. But it is, tied for the most goals you guys have given up, and second time this year you guys have given up 4 goals. And what do you guys need to do to tighten down the defense overall? Is there a common thread that you're seeing that's kind of been, what's separated you from being elite the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think some of it is some of it's a little bit unfortunate. Some of it is getting pressure to the ball. I think a lot of times we're getting to, whether it's crosses, edge of the box, we're kind of getting there but not really getting there, and it's allowing them time to either shoot or cross. And I think if we can shut that down, close that down just one step faster, it's gonna help us a lot. Get some more blocks in there, clearances, and I think it's gonna help us prevent some goals. And then staying tuned in the entire play. I think just maintaining concentration and not letting mistakes compound to where, it's not a couple mistakes a game that lead to a couple of goals, but it's, one every few games that leads to a chance. So those are things that we have to improve on, and, we've been stout the past 2 years, and certainly this year has been a little different, a little more frustrating, and, I think I chalk some of that up to a little bit of being unlucky when you look at a lot of the goals, but certainly moments where I think we can be more aggressive to prevent the initial action from taking place.
Sorry, follow-up question here is not directly related, but you guys did fight back twice, and I guess 3 times with your goal as well, but weren't quite able to get over the line. But what does it say about your team that there was kind of this refusal to kind of give up when Toronto is putting some pretty odd goals on you guys?
Yeah, I think that's something that it's a trait that we have shown throughout our history, is the ability to fight back when we go down, whether that's coming back to get 3 points, coming back to get 1 point. It's not uncommon for us, and so I think there's always a belief in the group. And I don't think we're ever counting ourselves out of any game. So it was good to see us try and come back, and again, just not enough on tonight's match.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you, Walker. Congratulations on the start. We'll focus on Wednesday.
Sounds good. Thank you.